Beyond survival, the revolutionary power of Black women building collective success. Good morning, everyone. Thank you for being here today. I want to begin by acknowledging the extraordinary visionary whose insights form the foundation of today's talk. Christina Robinson isn't just a leader in entrepreneurship, she is a revolutionary architect of economic transformation. Through her groundbreaking work building supportive ecosystems for Black women entrepreneurs, Christina has fundamentally reimagined what success looks like in America. She hasn't merely changed individual lives, she has catalyzed a movement that is quietly dismantling centuries old barriers to wealth creation for entire communities. Her brilliance lies not just in identifying problems, but in creating entirely new structures that render those problems obsolete. Our conversation revealed truths so powerful, they forced me to question everything I thought I knew about success, resilience, and the very nature of achievement in America. We live in a culture obsessed with the myth of the self made hero. You know the story, the lone entrepreneur who, through superhuman determination and against impossible odds, builds something remarkable through sheer force of will. These narratives dominate our podcasts, fill our bookstores, and flood our social media feeds. We celebrate these stories because they reinforce what we desperately want to believe, that with enough grit and hustle, anyone can make it. But what if this narrative isn't just incomplete? What if it's fundamentally misleading? What if our fixation on individual achievement is actually preventing us from creating something infinitely more powerful? This is the uncomfortable question Christina Robinson's work forces us to confront. For decades, we've celebrated Black women entrepreneurs for their extraordinary individual resilience, their ability to overcome systemic obstacles, to persist when institutions deny them capital, to build businesses with minimal resources and maximal determination. These stories of individual triumph matter deeply. They inspire, they create possibility models, but they don't tell the whole story, not even close. What Christina revealed through her research and lived experience is that the true revolution happening right now isn't about individual success stories at all. It's about something far more transformative, more disruptive, and ultimately more sustainable. Black women entrepreneurs are fundamentally reimagining what success looks like by building collective ecosystems of support. Instead of simply struggling to climb broken ladders alone, they are creating entirely new infrastructures, mentorship pipelines, capital access programs, and market opportunities that amplify success for entire communities rather than just exceptional individuals. This shift challenges everything we thought we knew about entrepreneurship and success. It turns out the journey was never meant to be solo, and when we build together, everyone accelerates faster. Let me share something remarkable with you. In the aftermath of COVID 19's economic devastation, Black women founded firms led new business creation at unprecedented rates across America. Think about that for a moment. During the worst economic crisis in generations, while facing the dual pandemics of racism and sexism, Black women weren't just surviving, they were creating at historic levels. How was this possible? Despite loan approval rates that consistently lagged behind those granted to male counterparts, these entrepreneurs found innovative solutions through collective action. Many developed alternative financing mechanisms, creating crowdfunding platforms specifically designed for minority founders. Others built cooperative buying groups, leveraging collective purchasing power to overcome individual limitations. The results are staggering. Average revenues increased by 32.7% from 2019 to 2023 among these businesses, the highest growth rate among all demographics tracked at recent Women's Business Enterprise National Council conferences. This isn't just impressive, it's revolutionary. These entrepreneurs demonstrated that community driven models don't just match individualistic approaches, they dramatically outperform them when scaled effectively. Consider the story of Tiffany, who launched a beauty tech platform during the pandemic. Traditional investors dismissed her vision despite her Ivy League credentials and decade of industry experience. Rather than giving up, she turned to a digital collective of Black women entrepreneurs who pooled resources to fund her seed round. But they didn't stop at capital. They became beta testers, marketing advisors, and introduced her to their networks. Within 18 months, her company wasn't just surviving, it was thriving, with revenue growth that outpaced industry averages by 40%. The investors who initially rejected her now wanted in, but on her terms. More importantly, Tiffany dedicated a portion of her profits to funding other women entrepreneurs through the same collective that supported her. This represents a fundamental paradigm shift. Rather than seeing exclusion from traditional systems as purely a disadvantage, these entrepreneurs recognized it as an opportunity to build something better, something more aligned with their values and the actual needs of their communities. Across industries like tech and e commerce, successful ventures founded by Black women leverage social media, not just as marketing tools, but as vehicles for mentorship, matchmaking, and resource sharing. They face significant challenges breaking into high growth sectors traditionally dominated by men, with limited access to early stage venture capital funding compared with industry peers. But rather than accepting defeat, they innovated collectively. They used online communities to enable rapid scaling without relying solely on institutional investors. They created legal education initiatives that help more founders register LLCs or partnerships efficiently. The result? Increased startup activity rates from an average of 6.1% between 2001 and 2005 up to over 10% post pandemic, with notable spikes in creative industries where networking proved especially effective. Early adopters recognized that digital transformation trends accelerated during pandemic era lockdowns would permanently reshape consumer behavior. They positioned themselves accordingly through upskilling programs offered via virtual accelerators. They formed sector specific mastermind groups where knowledge was freely shared rather than hoarded. Dozens secured six-figure investments through pitch events hosted entirely online. These examples prove that technology enabled collaboration can rapidly close opportunity gaps, even when traditional gatekeepers remain slow moving or actively resistant. But perhaps most fascinating is how this collective approach is transforming established institutions. At major gatherings like Bensie's annual conference in New Orleans, a symbolic hub known for resilience, Black businesswomen have redefined what it means to network at scale by prioritizing infrastructure building over simple self promotion. Previous event models focused heavily on showcasing individual achievements rather than driving broad based change or addressing structural inequities head on. But Christina explained how organizers introduced programming centered around ecosystem development, including panels on supplier diversity pipelines and hands on workshops, about accessing non traditional capital sources. The outcomes were remarkable. Attendee surveys showed measurable increases in cross company collaborations post event. Follow up data revealed higher than average contract win rates among participants who engaged deeply with new ecosystem focused tracks. Formal launch pads were established, connecting first time founders directly with Fortune ranked procurement teams. Mentorship pairings quadrupled year over year following implementation. Several pilot projects became permanent fixtures due specifically to attendee feedback loops, emphasizing accountability over applause. The conference's model is now being emulated nationwide as best practice, forging lasting change beyond any single event cycle while normalizing transparency about both progress made and work still left undone. Now, I want to be crystal clear about something. This collective approach doesn't diminish individual achievement, it absolutely matters. But Christina helped me understand that we've been thinking about resilience all wrong. True resilience isn't just about surviving hardship, it's about reinvention. Like New Orleans itself, a city known for its ability to reinvent after adversity, Black women owned businesses have thrived by transforming challenges into competitive advantages. This perspective on resilience as reinvention rather than mere endurance offers a powerful framework for thinking about how we overcome obstacles. It's not just about weathering the storm, it's about emerging from it transformed with new capabilities and perspectives that wouldn't have been possible without the challenge. And let's acknowledge the reality: systemic barriers still exist. Despite controlling $3.9 trillion in revenue and owning over a third of U.S. employer firms, women, especially Black women, still face higher loan denial rates, 25%, compared to men, 19%. This underscores the continued need for advocacy around funding equity. But here's what's remarkable: rather than waiting for systems to change, these entrepreneurs are building new ones. They're creating alternative pathways to success that don't depend on traditional gatekeepers. They're proving that when conventional doors remain closed, it's possible and perhaps preferable to build your own house. This brings me to three key insights that I believe can transform how we think about success and achievement. First, building ecosystems trumps individual achievement. The most sustainable growth comes from developing supportive networks where resources, knowledge, and opportunities are shared among professionals and entrepreneurs, not just focusing on personal wins. Second, resilience is about reinvention. Successful entrepreneurs don't just overcome obstacles, they transform them into competitive advantages that fuel growth and innovation. Third, while systemic barriers persist, they're being challenged in unprecedented ways. Entrepreneurs are creating alternative systems that bypass traditional gatekeepers, demonstrating that collective action can overcome structural inequities. These insights challenge us to rethink fundamental assumptions about success. We've been taught that achievement is primarily individual, that the path to success is paved with personal sacrifice, determination, and grit. And while these qualities matter, they're incomplete without community. What Christina helped me understand is that the either or thinking that pits individual achievement against collective success is fundamentally flawed. The most powerful model is both and individual excellence flourishing within supportive ecosystems. So I stand before you today with an urgent challenge. We must dismantle the dangerous myth of the lone hero entrepreneur. This narrative hasn't just failed to serve most of us, it has actively harmed our collective potential. What if instead of asking, how can I succeed despite the system? We started asking, how can we transform the system together? What if instead of measuring success by how high we climb individually, we measured it by how many we lift as we rise? What if instead of celebrating rare exceptions who overcome nearly impossible odds, we built systems where success isn't exceptional at all, but expected and supported? This isn't just about economic justice, it's about unleashing untapped human potential on an unprecedented scale. It's about creating prosperity that doesn't depend on someone else's deprivation. I challenge you today, look around your own industry, your own community. Where are you building ladders just for yourself when you could be building elevators for many? How might your achievements multiply if you invested as much in building supportive ecosystems as you do in personal development? The data is clear. When Black women entrepreneurs shifted from focusing solely on individual resilience to building collective infrastructure, their businesses grew at unprecedented rates. They didn't just survive, they thrived, creating ripple effects that benefited entire communities. The revolution won't be in breaking through glass ceilings alone. It'll be in building new structures altogether, structures designed for collective flourishing rather than exceptional individual escape. The future belongs to those who understand that true power isn't hoarded, it's shared, that real wealth isn't extracted, it's generated, that lasting success isn't achieved in isolation, it's co created. The question isn't whether you'll succeed. The question is who will succeed with you. Thank you